Hello and welcome, as this is a nighttime edition video. Cryptos, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Komodo, and whatever else I can think about within this video. All bets, trades, and of the like within one's own risk and their own reward. Alright then. So, Bitcoin on the 4-hour term time frame, making pattern of lower highs, lower lows, straight down on the daily chart, and looking at it on the weekly, significant leg lower, already a noticeable leg lower, a pierce above Fibonacci. The exact number is in at 3,072. This is based on the Bitstamp exchange because they got a low of 152.40. If I look at the Coinbase low on here, which I can, it's much lower than that. It's 109.87, but it's hard to count that when it was in its second month of trading. It's just wouldn't have had as much volume in that. But that shows you what can happen within different type of exchanges and large moves. And I think this is a good time now to talk about at least 3 of the larger exchanges out there. And as far as the orders where they can go up way big or way down, or as I try to draw it on here, lines where you have a period like this and you either have it like that because someone buys it up really big, or you have it down like that because someone sells it down big. On the exchange of Bittrex, because orders are removed every 28 days, what that means is the orders deep, either really high or really low, would get removed. So it thus makes it easier or more likely for orders to fill up at the higher and lower levels. That's one interesting aspect. On that of Binance, this is probably a good thing, but for me as a trader, I don't like seeing this. If you go on Binance and try to, and you make a play that would do it, let's assume, and let's go to another market before we go back to Bitcoin. And let's assume you were going to, whether it was accidental or not, buy it up to 3,813 and you had enough Bitcoin to do such. They would give you a warning message saying you are going to be buying it up at a large percentage. I don't like that, in one reason, because, well, a lot of reasons why those plays happen are because of mistake bids. And if you've been trading on exchanges for a while, especially if you made a lot of orders, you could probably have made your fair share of small ones or medium-sized ones here and there. I know I have. You push the numbers wrong and you accidentally buy or sell too much at a different level, and then boom, next thing you know, you sell all your Bitcoin or all of your, or most of, or whatever of a certain coin. You're like, oh shit, all that kind of stuff. That stuff happens. But on Binance, they give you the warning now. Of course, it still happens. After all, PivX, it went down pretty hard. Yeah, there would have been a warning there. And maybe some of it is all computer automated generated. If that's the case, fire the computer programmer who would have sold this down like such. And on the Poloniex exchange, they are planning on doing some large maintenance work, which was supposed to happen on Monday, but is now been postponed. But what they are doing is shutting the site down for trading for a significant period of time, maybe a good portion of a day. But what they're doing is canceling every single order, which I think is the proper thing to do, given markets move while they're gone. Say, for example, here on PivX, I know they don't have it, but assuming they did, say the market goes way up or way down. Well, that means if it left off at this point and it goes way up, that means the ask orders for 1520, 1540 would be gobbled up like no other. And on the contrary, if it goes down to say 1286 or below or anything like that, all the bids at 1400 and the 1300s would be gobbled up as well. because of that situation. But what that means as far as that situation is, when they have a maintenance thing like that, then for the early days, the many hours and days that will follow up after such, we'll have thinner bids and asks, which will increase the chances that events like such can occur. Let's move on next to Bitcoin. 3,215, and very close to the key level of support, and the exact number and at 3,072 as what says 61.8, referring to a 38.2% down, because that's what the retracement would be from bottom to top. And within the 4-hour time frame, obviously continuing a downtrend, lower highs and lower lows. Daily time frame, practically straight down movement, as it has been resisting amongst the 18 average. Has not touched the 18 average of highs yet on this run. And when you look at it on the weekly term time frame, you put the line back at that key previous Fibonacci level from before, and the exact number would have been 62.46. As if it matters, that'll work. And it was a key level, and now we got the 3,100 level almost now. So we can see here it's just barely pierced above it. It's pretty much an exact hit. What is the current low in at? 31.35. Are we going to have a bounce from here? Well, this is how I'm playing it. And I don't know why I didn't play it this way before, because what I should have done, realizing that I felt that this thing was going to have some good retracements, and for protection against the big volatile moves, is back in here when the market was breaking out past this resistance into the around 4,000-ish or so, maybe even 38, that would be fine as well, that you would sell a low amount but a good enough amount. This is what for me, of course, and for Bitcoin to buy back at 1,000. And 1,000, of course, was a no-brainer at the time, because that was the highest from even years. The market went from 1,000 to 250, like that. So 1,000 would have been the obvious one, even though you wouldn't know what that to be a Fibonacci point until after the fact, which is as it was going down here. But then as it broke towards these levels of resistance in here, this is really what should have fueled into the 3,000 buy area. And then the sells post here, post 12,000. Well, that would have been areas that I would have known, and here would have been buys at somewhere around here. And then, of course, buying here would have meant you could do some little bit with this move here, but it only got to the 18 high, so all you could do is a little bit. But from this point on, I'm rolling the dice, taking the chances, gonna be playing without a lifeline, as one might state, or not having any TUSD as the price manages to go and hit the 3,000 and anywhere lower than that. But from this point on, the way I look at it is, as I've stated before, I expect this area to be both bullish and bearish, meaning a key support level for either situation of the story. Now it has to be bullish or good on a bullish situation, because the net result would be much higher. Even if it goes straight down like this and does something wacky like this, technically if you buy here and it does that, that's profitable either way. And I would still, I mean, you were early, but it would still be the right play. And if it's bearish, it would not surprise me if it was able to come back to this previous key area. After all, it's not uncommon in a downtrend to go from, to find support at a first fib level, which it did, and then when it breaks, it has a quick move to the next one, and it's having that quick one, and then support it, and then come back to where it came from, which is here, and then back lower. So the plan I would be thinking is, I got two methods that I can sell at this point. The first is I'll be getting Bitcoin at the 3,000 level, or the TUSD 33,000. Looking to, of course, bet right around this area here, which is a little over 6,000, or half of its value from the 33. So I'd be looking to put buy orders in for 16,000 for a portion of the Bitcoin that I would sell. And then if that were to happen, where the price action does something like this, then of course I would get the 3,000 hit. I would buy this and then place a sell order for the Bitcoin at 1,000. That would mean TUSD at 100,000. And I'd be hoping, of course, it doesn't do that. And the plan continuing forward is, well, it would mean that if I get even higher gains, say the market can somehow come up to the 12, 13 number, then I can put those buy orders in at 3,000. Or at the 3,000 previous level, another hedge play, if you will. And then if it starts breaking out to new highs, then again, same thing. So if it goes to say 30,000, 35, that might be a place I sell, and then look to buy that back, really for 3-4x moves for the most part, because I realize I should have been doing it before, because this is what Bitcoin always does, has big moves up, big moves down, and at least as we continue forward, I don't see that changing anytime soon. And that's why I've talked so many times about the bulls have their turn, the bears have the turn. Well, the bulls have had a kick-ass turn up until the end of last year, and then 2018 has been pretty much a complete down to neutral year, which means they've been in control. Well, who goes in control after the bears? It would be the bulls. And they say picking tops and bottoms is a fool's game. At least my favorite teacher and technical analysis has taught that. However, I've seen these Fibonacci levels work so well in the past that I look at it from this direction. You are looking for confirmation to have to get back into the market. So therefore, during this whole run, because it could never even get past a higher high, there was never even a reason to get back in. So you want to see something happen, like if it does bottom in here, maybe something like this comes in, and then you end up getting in at, say, close to 5,000, which would have meant that's cheaper than buying at any point during this run here. Although you're not guaranteed to get this, these markets can shoot up so fast. I'm not a big fan of waiting for setups to occur and wait for major resistance breaks, because of how fast the moves can oftentimes be. But even if it goes down significantly, like say if it continues to go down to say anything, not even 1,000, definitely 1,000, but even down towards here really fast, it wouldn't surprise me if something like this were to occur, where you're still getting in at a higher price as it is anyway. So the way I look at it is, I'll play the historical mathematics. I don't need to know why these Fibonacci numbers have historically worked as well as they have in the past. Rather, play upon them and just keep on analyzing my results and my play. So like in poker, how you play the game. And then when you see that you play the game well with mistakes or elements that can be fixed, always try to improve those elements along the way. And any type of mistakes you can notify that you're making, try to identify the mistakes and how they can be corrected. Alrighty then, so really there's not much more to go over. I ended up selling a little bit at the 3200 handle, both on the way down and on the way up. Just a small amount, but 15% of what I had. I thought about selling it all down here. And I did so again, roughly around here as it was coming back. I don't know if this move is real. Likely this is not the bottom. And when you're barely above it, this is a 50-minute time frame. It can never be favored to be such an event. But if it is, and I can't fill the rest of my buy orders, then you know what, so be it. Not much more I can do. But it was kind of important to do so because it looks like XBY might be having a little bit of a retracement, as I'm going to quickly put that chart on the screen. And I'll use the chart from CoinMarketCap. And I've circled in some key lows and some key highs. It's had some interesting recent moves, and I've been following recently the order book. I'm trading this against 3 different crosses. I've had it against a doji cross as well, trying to get as many, because I was trading doji against Litecoin. I thought, you know what, why don't I just cancel my buy and sell orders against Doggy and then take some of my XBY, put some sell orders in, and then use my Doggies to put buy orders in for it and just keep trading it that way. So that's what I've done. But as far as the analysis of this is concerned, the area of 400 support has been tested, of course. We can see, whether you want to count this, yeah, you do count this one here for sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, kind of like 6 different tests. You can even almost count this one to a degree with this high. But given the fact that the buy orders are pretty thin, then that means one of 2 things. One, the push could be pretty deep, as there isn't any major buy orders going down there, even at the lowest levels at around 100. And I don't think anyone's really going to sell it down that low. But the buy order bids are low. So you could get, because it doesn't take much to bring it down to lower levels, you could get the chances of seeing 250, 200, 300 Satoshi very, very easily, very, very fast, within even one person selling it. It could very easily happen. But it also could mean that this could stop someone from trying to sell big because they want to sell it down to 250 or 300, but they want to see some more action in there. And it's there was a situation where there's been opportunities recently this week for people to sell it down pretty good, and during the time frame they had, it wasn't done. As just in here around this time frame, there were some pretty large bids that were entering in, at least for its normal volume that it has. There were some pretty interesting bids that entered into the market for a good 8-9 hours. Nobody took it. Instead, some of it I was noticed was bought up, meaning I noticed there was a large size bid in at like 401 or 402 or something like that. And then it was removed, and then moments later the price action jumped up about 20 or 30 points. But it should have worked out more than that, or the person never did use the full multiple Bitcoins to buy, because I had my sell orders in place because what I did was I calculated how many Bitcoin this person had that wanted to buy, how many Bitcoin it would take to get to a certain level, and that's where I put an aggressive sell order, which unfortunately didn't hit, since the price action has went from like 440 now down below 400, but wouldn't be surprised if it breaks down below. Let's move on to Komodo, because I think that's going to have an interesting some interesting moments coming soon. And overall, it was kind of a shitty week from the Komodo standpoint, and I've decided that when needed four-letter words in proper context will be used in the non-crypto day morning videos because they state that they have automations that can detect things like such. And because of it, I wouldn't mind doing the best that I can to use them in proper text on the non-crypto day mornings and see over a decent sample size of videos, maybe 10 to 20, if that is true, if the ad revenues go down. It's not like ad revenues really mean much to me anyway. It is a very small amount, given that I'm lucky to even get 300 views most of the time. But I just have fun doing this, and so on and so forth. But I do like how the movement is. The reason why it was so shitty was because of the fact that the arbitrage got fixed and it hasn't changed. Because earlier on, when this thing was trading at these higher levels, the 18 and change marks up in here, I was able to get some successful gains because Bittrex had much lower prices. Unfortunately, the wallets were down, but that meant the arbitrage became available and such that I had to wait to be able to buy back on Binance. And well, since I was able to do it, they've pretty much shared the same price. There hasn't been too much of an arbitrage. As you can see, the volatility has also been relatively low for the most part, as over the last since December the 10th, it's been in a range of 1746 and like mainly 1600. So that's like less than a 10% range. So there barely hasn't been any trade. So that's why it hasn't been so fun. But the setup is good, and the wallets should be back online soon. Tomorrow is when the new wallets are all done. And it's a big upgrade. So either the people are going to like it or they're not going to like it. It's almost like earnings or something like that with the stock market, as I look at for a proper comparison. If people like how the new upgrade was done, then this thing could have a very interesting possible bullish move. If people don't like it, well, the opposite could most certainly come into place. I want to talk about Litecoin against Bitcoin because it's got an interesting setup for the possibility of it having a nice leg higher. The price is currently in at 007232. Highest it's been in about 5 days. It's at the 18 average of lows. And I think it could make a move up to the 18 average of highs, maybe even higher than that. When I keep on shortening this out, well, things seem to get pretty interesting because you got this down move in here, so noticeable. Major support established. Major resistance established. Well, the highest point of that resistance is here, and it's my eye test says it's broken it barely. And that green line tells me that price action at the 72.31 means I gotta quickly pause the tape for trading purposes, and I'll get right back at it. And the reason why I did was because I transferred funds over to put buy orders in for XBY. And instead of paying the higher transfer fee for Bitcoin, I decided to buy Litecoin, and I did so at about the 718 number. And I'm thinking I can probably sell it at a bit of a higher price. And I did have a seller in for 722. And when I seen 724 almost, I figure, and it hadn't sold at this point, so somebody could have got a microscopic deal off of me. I figure I might as well day trade it for a little bit for the night, and then before I go to bed I can ensure the sell comes in and use that for buy orders. But I've liked here on the single hour time frame how after this failed breakdown in here, it found beautiful support at the lows, broken this resistance, and it's a pretty big level, as we can see here, coming back, finding support in here, and just now, as we can see, edging its way to the upside, so that when We look at this even on a more shorter term level, I can see things within the 15, beautiful support on the 18, looking like it's leaving it right now. Definitely something I think can have a nice leg higher ASAP. And I've just thought to myself, you know what I probably could have done if I didn't want to pay much for fees and it would have been so much faster, although the day trade might work for me now, is I could have bought in Litecoin on Binance like I did, send the Litecoin to my hardware wallet, and then send Bitcoin from my hardware wallet to the exchange, because it's like just a couple of pennies these days to be sending even Bitcoin from, well, at least my Trezor hardware wallet. But anyway, as it looks right now, I think I get a nice gain as I can try to sell this into, when I look at this, what's a decent leg higher? 730s is where I think I can be able to get a sell target for a quick day trade. Let's transition it next to Poly, which is on the move right now. 15-minute term time frame, heavy volume coming in on this decent break of established resistance. Single hour time frame. What does this tell me? People say technical analysis doesn't work. Let them say what they want. It works for those that can understand it and utilize it. For those that say it doesn't work, or don't understand it, don't try to understand it oftentimes. But you see situations like this. One, you can't be surprised this was occurring when you notice how you see stuff like this. When I see something that shows strength amongst the 18, that is a situation where it did so. It offered many periods where you could be like, oh, I'm going to make a play for this to go up for a significant gain. And it, of course, has just most recently done so. And when we look at this on a single hour time frame, or single daily rather, from that point, it's been in a sideways consolidation pattern. You have this move in here. So reversal of trend, stage one, and this is not much of a downtrend, but still counted as one. It was long enough, and band flattening out clearly did so here. Resistance established, come back to the band, and then break established resistance. So that's what it's looking to do. And having a price come up here becomes very difficult to determine if it's just going to be a failed breakout, key top, and have something like this. I think that's an underdog to occur. And then you have, I look at it as in two bullish scenarios. Number one, it just goes straight up. Maybe you might find support at this area at some point, but it just breaks resistance. And thus there isn't resistance at that point. Or you resist it and you come back to where you should, and where you should was where it came from, and what would be the newly rising 18. And I just hate the situation because it's so much difficult for me to tell like what's the case going to be. And if I try to bet against something like this, then I realize the profit and the risk reward play, I'm only looking at a small pullback, so there isn't usually that much great for reward and concern of the risk, which is a very tremendous move higher. However, on a short-term level, I see this on a pattern like this. Make this high, you establish resistance here, correctionary move. As it's leaving the 18 is one spot where I think is an interesting spot, as it's just breaking out, which is kind of like now maybe not quite so clear. But it wouldn't surprise me if it has a decent sized move. Now if you're buying on the break, you could very easily have short-term corrections as note, which is why when you look at if you'd make bets like that, I think a good idea is to determine where you would want a stop to be, because if the price action comes anywhere near here short term, at least anywhere near here for that matter, then that is most likely stating the failed breakout spot and quote unquote a spot where it might be a better place to have a short or a stop loss rather, if you're playing a game of that nature within a setup like this. I don't usually trade it like that. That's just how I would if of course I was doing such. And let's finish this off with the NEM, XEM, which has had several highs noticeable, this one being the biggest, but doing a very good job at least before within supporting the 18 average and usually supporting the 18 average of highs. You have gap A low and several resistant periods high. So now we got all of this empty space in here. The 18 average has flattened out. It's already had a down move breaking short-term level, so whichever resistance this establishes on the short term is going to be very key. It's already lost its upward momentum via having a move that didn't find support at about the 19.5 level and falling down briefly below 19. And therefore, when you look at these little things, or these on the short-term time frame, generally speaking, you oftentimes will establish support, and in a spot like that for the short-term levels in which it does, oftentimes that's when you'll get maybe some choppy action and then get indications, okay, if it breaks resistance here later on, it's going to be good to go. If you break down support, we're coming back down here, because we very easily could have point A low, of course this high, and then the question would be, if this has a significant break below this 18 and reverses the trend, are we going to find some sort of higher low, matching low, and given how the market has been in a downtrend, a lower low is a possibility as well. And I'm going to conclude this video, so thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.